DOC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Outcasted OC, and we are discussing NXT this week, of course, because it's me on your screen. I am your host, Rhys, and I'm about to tell you some very, very juicy information that concerns next week in NXT. I mean, like we're talking about this week, but mostly this episode was about next week. So, you know, take with that how you will. So, at the very, very top of the show, I just want to tell you, if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to support us on all of our other social medias also. But let's just get straight into it. John Cena is going to be in NXT next week. Yeah, it was announced that John Cena is going to be in NXT this week due to him being in Carmelo Hayes' corner, because apparently, and we will get into this more, Carmelo Hayes had a discussion with John on the phone later on in the night, and basically John Cena said, I'll be in your corner next week when you have a match against a certain person. Also, Cody Rhodes is appearing next week on NXT, which is going to be fabulous to see. I don't know what he's going to be doing. All it said was he has an announcement, or like he wants to discuss something. So maybe it's like a big match that he's going to be facing off against somebody in the NXT roster. That'd be really, really cool. I can't wait to see that. And the announcements don't stop there, guys, because later on in the night, Kiana James announces that Asuka is going to be facing Roxanne Perez in a match next week. So that's going to be really, really cool to see. The longest reigning women's champion of all time. Well, the longest reigning women's champion, I just believe it is in general. Definitely the NXT women's champion of all time is going to be facing Roxanne Perez. That's going to be a really, really cool match. And last but not least, Paul Heyman is going to be here next week on NXT. He's going to be in the corner of Carmelo Hayes' opponent, Braun Breaker. That's right. So John Cena is going to be on one side. Paul Heyman is going to be on the other side of the other. That's going to be continuing the storyline of what's going on Friday Night SmackDown. So all that and more is happening next week. But let's get into this week's show, where we open with another person who is synonymous with the main roster. Becky Lynch, the NXT Women's Champion, makes her way down to the ring, where she says she's still not able to compete. But Tiffany Stratton is also not able to compete because both of them got injured in that match. She said Tiffany Stratton brought the fight and she has a newfound respect for it, and she has arrived at the big time. But now she's looking to the future, mainly at part 1, night 1 of NXT Halloween Havoc. She doesn't have an opponent, but that's next. That's the next big show on the date for her. This means she needs an opponent, and she doesn't have one yet. This ensues quite a few people coming out asking for a women's championship match. Basically, we start with Lyra Valkyria, who comes out and says, I believe it was June 14th or June 20th or something like that. It was sometime in June 2014 was the very first NXT that she saw, and Becky Lynch was on it. She goes on to say that to see someone from her ends, basically, you know, from where she lives, become the NXT Women's Champion now, but also to be Becky Two Belts, big time Bex, make it to the big time, become the man that she is. It's really inspiring, and it was an honor for her to be in the ring a couple of weeks ago with her, like back-to-back defending, you know, like against all odds. But she always wondered in the back of her head what it would actually be like to be face-to-face with Becky Lynch. So at Halloween Havoc, she wants the Women's Championship match. Indy Hartwell then comes out and says, you know, I actually never lost that title that's on your shoulder, Becky. I got drafted to the main roster while I was the NXT Women's Champion, so I had to forfeit it. I have unfinished business in NXT, and I also want a Women's Championship match at Halloween Havoc. She says that the NXT universe basically watched her grow up in NXT. It was Becky Lynch stood right where she got married, obviously referencing Index, which hopefully we'll get back to eventually. That isn't all. Roxanne Perez also comes out and says she wants back the NXT Women's Championship. She's tired of, like, you know, waiting around. She wants it back. She hasn't been the same since she lost it. So Becky Lynch basically turns around and goes, whoa. Guys, too much talking. We need to be doing more fighting. So how about tonight? I sit at that lovely commentary desk while you three entertain me with a triple threat #1 contenders match. And whoever wins it gets to face me at Halloween Havoc for the Women's Championship. So that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see who is going to win that match. Well, I say I can't wait. I already know who's going to win that, but we're going to talk about that. Do you know what? Screw it. Let's talk about it right now. We might as well. So let's talk about the triple threat immediately, because it references to what we're talking about. So in the triple threat match, we have those three lovely ladies Unfortunately for Roxanne Perez, she has made a couple of enemies backstage. So as she is about to win this match, she hits the pop rocks on Indy Hartwell. She goes for the cover 1-2. She gets dragged out of the ring by Kiana James. She beats down Roxanne Perez, but Becky Lynch hits Kiana James, like knocks her off. And well, basically, Roxanne Perez is out of the match, but at least she's not getting beaten up anymore by Kiana James. However, it's too late for Roxanne Perez to get involved again into the match because already perched on the top rope is Lyra Valkyria. She hits Indy Hartwell with a splash. Obviously, she's still recovering from the pot rocks. She's unable to. 1, 2, 3. Lyra Valkyria is the new #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Wow. That's a lot to cover. That is a lot to cover in the women's division, to be fair. Obviously, we've got the women's breakout tournament as well to talk about later on tonight. But what do you guys think about Lyra Valkyria challenging Becky Lynch for the women's championship? Do you think she's going to be the one to beat her for it? I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be a great match regardless, but I actually wouldn't mind Lyra Valkyria winning the women's championship from Becky Lynch, to be honest with you. I think it'd be cool. Becky Lynch would mean that, she's had quite a bit of time in NXT at that point, and hopefully there is someone on the main roster that's taking Becky Lynch's spot, like there's someone else in the main event. So yeah, I would quite like to see Lyra Valkyria win it. I think she could be a great champion. She just needs to improve on her promos. I'm not a big fan of her promos, to be quite honest with you. Next, we have a tag team match after that Becky Lynch segment. As I said, we've already talked about the triple threat match, so, I don't need to talk about that later on in the show. But we do have a tag team match. We have 2/3 of British Strong Style returning, that being Butch or Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate versus 2 of the members of Gallus, that being Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. I was expecting a little bit more from this match, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It didn't last as long as I would like, but, you had the classic moves in there. You had the joint manipulation from Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, getting involved in that. You also had a double bop and bang from both of these guys. You had a bit of high-flying maneuvers from Tyler Bate, which was really, really nice to see. There's a moment where Pete Dunne is doing the 10 beats of the bar in honor of Sheamus. After he hits them on Mark Coffey, he jumps over the ropes to attack Joe Coffey. So obviously, like, Gallus has a big problem with Butch, and he is not going to let that go. He gets back in the ring and hits a double bitter end with Tyler Bate onto Wolfgang for the victory. However, this is not where it ends, guys, because then Joe Coffey jumps into the ring and starts trying to beat down both of those guys. Obviously, the rest of Gallus are back on the feet, and it's 2-on-3. They're outnumbered. Gallus are taking over. Unfortunately for Gallus, someone else comes back to help Pete Dunne, and that is Ridge Holland from SmackDown, his fellow brawling brute. So that's another person from the main roster that we've seen. Fair play to Ridge Holland. Do you guys remember when, like, Ridge Holland was Pat McAfee's kind of like hired gun to take care of, like, Adam Cole? Do you remember that? And then he got injured, and then it became Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan that was working for Pat McAfee. It feels like a lifetime ago. I feel like that was like 2019, 2018, which is crazy to think about. It's really weird to think about that, because that's like 4 or 5 years ago, right? Something like that. Jeez. Wow, I just gave myself a nostalgia trip. Yeah, but it's nice to see how far Ridge Holland has come. I didn't really like his singles work, but I think he's really cool in the Brawling Brutes. It's a shame that Gallus don't have 4 members, because then it could have been a bit of British Strong Style and the Brawling Brutes returning. That would have been cool to see. Tyler Bate, Sheamus, Ridge, and Pete versus Gallus boys on top. That would have been nice to see, but there's only 3 members of Gallus, unfortunately. So, we're not going to see that. Or maybe we will. I don't know at this point. And we get another segment in the ring after this where Ilya Dragunov comes out to the ring and says, you can call him the Mad Dragon, you can call him the Tsar, but you better call him the NXT champion. Carmelo Hayes brought the fight, but he is now the new champion, and he got pushed beyond his limits, but he said his destiny was to capture the championship, and that's exactly what he did. Trick Williams comes out to congratulate Ilya Dragunov and say, thanks to you, everyone that knows the Trick Williams now, the Trick Williams that I am today, is thanks to you, because at Heatwave, you pushed me and you made me a better fighter. So I appreciate that. Ilya Dragunov turns around and says he's proud of Trick Williams for winning the North American Championship. And this was funny to hear him say it. He was like, at No Mercy, you whooped that Trick. And the crowd enjoys that. Carmelo Hayes comes out, and he's a bit miffed that Trick Williams is talking to Ilya Dragunov. He says, Ilya, are you tripping? That's Ilya Dragunov. Am I hearing this right? if anything, you should be ignoring all that sort of stuff, because I've been saying since day one that I'm proud of you. That I've been saying since day one that you've got what it takes to win a championship. But you're talking to Ilya Dragunov. He seemed a bit jealous to me here. Carmelo Hayes, that just forwards a story going on with him and Trick Williams. Eventually, like I said last week in my theory, I think it's going to be them at Stand and Deliver next year at the WrestleMania weekend of NXT. That's going to be a really, really good match if that comes true for me. Ilya Dragunov, he's just kind of letting these two guys go back and forth. But Carmelo Hayes said something like kind of crazy here. He turns around and goes, you know, it's all good winning that championship. It's great. It's great to see. But there's a difference between winning a championship and holding on to it. And Trick Williams goes, whoa, what are you trying to say? And then Ilya gets involved and goes, yeah, what are you trying to say, Melo? And Melo basically says, all I'm saying is you need to concentrate on Dominic Mysterio tonight and defending that championship. You want to get it to the heights that I had, you need to defend that championship. Dominic Mysterio comes out and basically starts, try to stir the pot, try to say, oh, look at you, Trick. You're still in Melo's shadow and you're the champion. What the hell is going on here? Trick Williams turns around and goes, you just do whatever Mommy says, don't you? Like, Dom says, don't worry about it. And he says, no, you just do everything that Mommy says. Mommy says this, Mommy says that, Mama say, Mama say, Mamakus. I love that, what he said. That was absolutely amazing. It's basically like just leading up to the match later on tonight, guys. And we will get to that. That is the main event. There's a moment here where Trick Williams makes a big mistake because Melo says, you know what Judgment Day are like, and I'm going to be in your corner tonight, just like old times, to watch your back. And Trick Williams says, no, I won this title by myself, so I'm going to have to decline. I'm going to go for it by myself, which turns out, spoiler alert, to not go very, very well for Trick Williams, guys. Unfortunately, it's I really want to talk about it now, but there's a lot to discuss, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really want to get into it right now because I want to save that till the end. But we're gonna now go backstage, just after the triple threat match between the three ladies, where Carmelo Hayes is walking through and he gets stopped by Bron Breakker, and Bron Breakker says, I'm the only person right now who knows how you feel. As the most dominant NXT champion of all time, I know how it feels to lose my title on the big stage. So I know what you're feeling. You're feeling upset. You're feeling angry. I'll tell you what you need to do with all that anger. You need to turn it into rage. You need to turn it into a bit of power and destroy everyone. And that includes Trick Williams. And Melo says, whoa. Nah, he's my boy. I ain't destroying Trick Williams. Bron brings up a good point and goes, where was Trick when you lost the NXT championship? Was he in gorilla position, ready to give you a hug and say, oh, it's all going to be okay and there'll always be another opportunity? No, he wasn't. So maybe it's time you start looking out for yourself. And I think that's a good point. Where was Trick Williams when, he lost the championship? Yeah, he was in the locker room, but, we now stay backstage where Ilya Dragunov is getting his plates screwed onto the NXT championship. He gets confronted by Baron Corbin, who says, don't screw those on so tight. You don't know how long you're going to be holding it for, which obviously Dragunov takes he goes, oh yeah, is that right? And Baron Corbin goes, yeah, that is right, because I'm one of the only people that's beaten you in recent memory. So I'm coming for that title, basically, is what Corbin's saying. I really want to see this. I do want to see Ilya Dragunov versus Baron Corbin. I think Corbin's been doing really, really good work while he's been down in NXT. And I hope he stays in NXT for quite a long time. Not for any like bad purposes. I just think it's really cool what he's been, basically all the work that he's been doing with the different people down there, especially the Bron Breakker stuff and the Von Wagner stuff. He's just basically like reinvented himself, and he's just talking a lot of truth. So it's nice to see Baron Corbin getting quite a lot of screen time in NXT. And we now go to a match that doesn't really have anything to say about it, to be honest with you. It is Gigi Dolan versus Blair Davenport. And while Blair Davenport is making her entrance, Gigi Dolan attacks her through the smoke, and these two just start brawling from the very beginning. Blair Davenport introduces a chair into the match. Gigi Dolan is leaning over the announce table. She tries to hit it with a chair and she misses, and the fight continues. The chair basically then gets brought into the ring where Gigi Dolan tries to hit Blair Davenport with it. She misses. Blair picks up the chair. Obviously, the referee is going crazy, saying you can't use any of this. Blair misses with the chair. She gets rolled up for the 1, 2, 3 from Gigi Dolan. So this rivalry isn't over. I'm quite interested to see where Blair Davenport is going from this. She's had quite a lot of losses recently, which I'm very surprised about because I thought she was getting built up to win the Women's Championship. And if it's not going to be Lyra Valkyria who's beating Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship, I think Blair Davenport is definitely in the conversation for the next challenger, hopefully. I mean, that's what I'm hoping anyway. But yeah, like Blair Davenport really needs to get back on the tracks, man. Like, I don't really know what they're doing with it. It's kind of like she's stalling ever since Stand and Deliver, ever since that match with Roxanne Perez. They've not really known what to do with Blair Davenport, so hopefully she can get back on track. I'm just going to skip over this a little bit. Kiana James is explaining why she attacked Roxanne Perez, and it's basically because she's jealous of Roxanne Perez. She was in the breakout tournament last year, and no one's talking about it. She also won the tag team championships, and no one is talking about it. And she's basically tired of Roxanne Perez getting all the opportunities that she's not getting. And while she's there, she's not going to be getting any more opportunities. So next week she's organised that Asuka. So I don't know how she organised this. Is Asuka under her? Is she getting paid by her? I don't know. Basically, Asuka is. This is the reason why Asuka is facing Roxanne Perez next week. So that's going to be a great match. Next, we are getting the first match in the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. I'll read out the two names that are in the match tonight. It is Izzy Dame? Yeah, Izzy Dame versus Kalani Jordan. Obviously, I know one of those people. I don't know the others. But what I'm going to do now is read out all the people in this tournament, and I will explain if I know who they are, like what I think is going to happen in this tournament. So first of all, we got Lola Vice. And I'm just going to say this straight up from the bat. I think Lola Vice is going to win this tournament. I think it's the most likely person to win this tournament. Lola Vice has got a lot of potential in that ring. She's got a lot of stuff going on in NXT at the moment anyway. So for me, that is the favorite in this tournament. Next, we've got Danny Palmer. Obviously, we've seen quite a lot of Danny Palmer recently as well, just as much as Lola Vice, I would say. Danny Palmer, very talented in the ring, very acrobatic. It's really cool to see Danny Palmer is getting an opportunity in this tournament. Ariana Grace, someone who I have seen on NXT TV, but we've not seen that much of, so I can't really comment on, what she's going to be doing in this tournament. But, there's always promise for someone that we've seen on TV getting an opportunity here. Next, we have someone called Jada Barker, someone who I'm not familiar with, so I can't really comment on her, but hopefully we get to see what she's capable of in this tournament. Jakara Jackson, one of the women in Metaphor. So I have a feeling she's going to get a victory under her belt. I don't know if she's going to win. I doubt it. Like I say, I've already said my favorite, but it's nice to see Jakara Jackson getting an opportunity in here. There is someone who I am not familiar with again, Carmen Petrovic. Like I say, I have no idea who this is. I'm interested to see what she's capable of. I'm interested to see the matches that she's going to be having in this tournament. There's not much to talk about for this first match. Like I say, the other two people are Izzy Dame and Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan goes on to win this match, which is a bit of a shame. But Izzy Dame, it doesn't matter if she's out of this tournament. There's been plenty of people in tournaments prior in NXT, that haven't won the first match and then gone on to do great things. So it's all good. There's nothing to worry about there. She was very impressive in this match, so I am interested to see more of her. So, it's not the end of the world. I'm not surprised that Kalani Jordan won this match. And like I say, if it wasn't going to be Lola Vice who was winning this tournament, I would put money on Kalani Jordan. Am I saying Kalani Jordan right? Is it Kalani Jordan? Yeah, I was going to say it's Kalani. Obviously, we've seen a bit of Kalani Jordan because she was in that tag team with Dana Brooke for a little bit before Dana got released. And she was also in a rivalry with Cora Jade when Kalani was under the mentorship of Dana Brooke as well. She wins this match with a beautiful split-legged moonsault. It's really nice move that. So it's nice to see that is a finisher in WWE once again. Yeah, she does get the victory, and it's going to be interesting to see how she progresses in this tournament. And we now go backstage to Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, who are asking Thea Hale and JC Jane if they can come out and support those two in this match tonight in a tag team match against Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. At first, Thea Hale's like, no, I don't need a cheerleader. I don't need anything. But JC Jane goes, no, this could be a good thing. And she talks Thea Hale into letting them come out. They all go chase you on 1, 2, 3 and do the whole chase you. I'm excited for this. Maybe JC Jane is worming her way into Andre Chase University, obviously destroying it from the inside, kind of like how we thought Duke Hudson was doing it from the inside very, very at the start. So it's going to be nice to see. I think there's going to be some fireworks, some explosions, but you know, like it's I don't want to see Chase U break up. I want to see him go up to the main roster, to be honest with you. We do get this tag team match next. Like I say, Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez versus Thea Hale and JC Jane. There's not much really to say about this match. There's no drama with Chase U on the outside. It's over quite quickly with Thea Hale locking in the Kimura lock and getting the victory quickly for JC Jane and Thea Hale. Literally, like I say, not much to talk about there. We next get a segment where Carmelo Hayes announces that John Cena is going to be in his corner next week on NXT. He was talking to him on the phone after having the conversation with Bron Breakker, because obviously Bron Breakker was getting into his head. He calls up John Cena, and John Cena apparently gave him some sound advice. John Cena says he's been a 16-time world champion, but in order to get there, he had to get up off the mat 15 times. And that's exactly what Trick Melo is going to do. He is not going to listen to anybody. He is going to basically, like, you know, get back up and carry on fighting, because he is him. He is Melo. He didn't say that. I've just had that on at the end, but you know, that's all I'm thinking. But however, guys, you know, I don't think that this is going to be the end of the Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes rivalry, because just after this, oh dear. So we get the main event. The North American Championship is on the line. The champion Trick Williams versus the former champion Dirty Dominic Mysterio, with all of Judgment Day eventually coming out. Trick Williams does not have anyone to back him up. So what do you think happens, guys? You know, what do you think happened? There's a moment here where Rhea Ripley throws the Women's Championship into Dominic Mysterio. He DDTs Trick Williams onto the belt, but he kicks out. However, unfortunately, this opens the door for everyone else to get involved. Trick Williams hits that unbelievable knee on Dominic Mysterio, but then he has to focus his attention on JD McDonough, who also comes out and gets a knee to the face, Shinsuke Nakamura style. But then Damian Priest gets on the side of the apron and starts distracting the referee. Unfortunately, that opens the door again for Finn Balor to hit Trick Williams in the face with a championship, the tag team championships, that allows Dominic Mysterio to have an opening and eventually hit the 5-star frog splash for the 1, 2, 3. Dominic Mysterio is your 2-time North American champion. Now, I understand why they've done this, because I have a feeling they want Dragon Lee to eventually beat Dominic Mysterio for that North American championship, but it's just a shame that I believe now Trick Williams is now the shortest reigning North American champion of all time, with about 4 days in a reign. It was nice to see him have his flowers at No Mercy. But I'm just a bit down about it. I understand why they've done it, but I also understand where they're going with both of these storylines. Like I said, it leaves the door open now for Dragon Lee to challenge Dominic Mysterio. And now I think that both Trick and Melo don't have a championship. I think Melo's going to be like, I told you to let me help you. You know, I told you to let me come out and, like, you know, have you back against the Judgment Day. Trick Williams is going to be down about it. The question is, who is going to turn on who? And like I said with my prediction last week, who is going to be the bad guy in that match at Stand and Deliver? I think it's going to be Trick versus Melo at Stand and Deliver next year. We're kind of like a Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano rivalry, where it's going to be like, you know, once absolutely amazing friends become bitter enemies, unfortunately. But both of them guys are incredibly talented, and that can go a long, long way. That could even bring back the old NXT audience, in my opinion. I'm just sad about the fact that he is no longer North American champion, because he is the fastest rising star in NXT, and I don't care what anybody says. But guys, that is the end of NXT, apart from, like I said, Paul Heyman comes on the microphone after this and says he's going to be in the corner of Bron Breakker next week, because Cena is in the corner of Carmelo Hayes. But that is the end of NXT. Let me know what you think of NXT in the comments. Did you agree with everything I said? If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a like anyway. You know, we're all friends here. Subscribe to the channel and go follow us on X/Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Outcasted OC. Go follow the rest of the gang's individual channels. Obviously, you've got Lauren, you've got G, you've got Courtney, you've got Ross, and myself, all on TikTok and Instagram. That'll be in the description below. Stay tuned, guys, for tomorrow's Fastlane Predictions podcast with special guest Morgan, which I can't wait to speak to. Always a great pleasure to speak to Morgan. Then we have a SmackDown review coming Saturday morning. And that's going to be really, really cool to see, because that's going to be the go-home show for Fastlane. So is anything interesting going to be happening on that show? Who knows? Then, obviously, we're going to have the Fastlane review up for you on Sunday. So there's plenty of content to look forward to this week. Plenty of content on the TikTok channel as well coming up. Probably clips from this week's Fastlane predictions show. And I'm going to be posting a little video about who you would like to see face anyone in NXT from the main roster. So that's going to be an interesting little video. I'm getting to have all the guys' opinions in there. Like I say, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have gone and watched Courtney's Raw review from yesterday, because it was an amazing episode of Raw, and Courtney always does an amazing job reviewing that show. But for now, guys, have a great Wednesday. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.